I'm Mark Boris and this is Straight Talk. You getting all this?
Are we on?
Yeah,
oh my
we
God.
are. Yeah. Millie Ford, welcome to Straight Talk.
Thank you for having me.
Millie Ford, the singer, Millie Ford, the actress. You've had massive success in TikTok. Do you think people relate to you because we are sick to death of perfection?
150%. It's like I am so chaotic and scatterbrained, but it also gives me the ability to find humour in chaos and be relatable for people. I'm not living a perfect life, and we need people to show the realities of life. Just be yourself.
Can we talk about it?
Yeah, I've only talked about it to my family and friends. You can be first. So, oh my gosh, we're getting very deep and it's like 10 minutes in. I feel like we should.
That's where I start. Millie Ford, welcome to Straight Talk.
Thank you for having me.
You look great.
Thank you.
Can I just comment on your shoes?
Yeah.
No, we just talked for about 5 minutes. We might have got it on film, but we just talked about, we got to talk about your shoes. More importantly, I won't talk about your socks.
Okay, good. Because that was the one comment I made to myself coming in here.
Here it is. Shoes.
I also didn't tan my legs because I didn't think my feet were going to be shown on here.
But that's okay. But they're great.
I'm just like raw and real.
Chanel. That's a Chanel sign.
These are Chanel and they're pearls.
They look awesome.
Thank you.
They look nice and relaxed and comfortable, but they do stand out. I had to say something about it.
Thank you
Righto.
so much.
So, Millie, tell me, I want to go backwards, but I want to start from where we are today, right?
Okay.
What are you doing right now? So what's your main game, day to day? Tell me. I heard you when you're coming in. You said, "Look, I'm a one-man band because we expect you to walk in with a big entourage, makeup specialist, hairstylist, blah, blah, blah." So you're a one-man band. What are you doing? What's your deal?
It's all me. I think people in my life would argue that it's time that I did actually expand my team of one. And I'm not going to lie. This is all you need to know about me. I put out a PA call out on my Instagram story, like in August last year. And I still haven't selected my PA, so I had to do it.
Did you get any responses?
I got hundreds, and I looked at that and I thought, I can't do that. So I put it to the side, and I was like, by the time it came around to this year, I was like, most of those people would have jobs. So I did it again. And so I did another call out 3 weeks ago, and I've managed to go through them, but I haven't actually contacted them because for some reason I've like resisted bringing someone on, even though I know it's the best. Okay, I know what it is. I worked backwards as to why. It's because I work from home. I'm so nervous about having someone in and amongst my private space and losing like freedom almost. And so I'm like hanging on to dear life to this last bit of freedom because they come and work at my place. It's a very hands-on job. And so I'm like, I know I'm procrastinating it. And it just scares me to think that like I'll have a stranger in my house. That's the main thing, which is such a weird reason. But I love my privacy and I think I'm just kind of like in my head about it. But I'm at a point where I'm so aware that I need to like put in, spend money to make more money, like pay someone to come and help build my life out more because like I can't do it all alone. That's what I'm learning.
Yeah, but it's sort of the admin role.
It's an admin role, which is what I need the most. Another thing that I'm learning is like, you don't have to be good at everything, which that's not my forte. I literally cannot do admin work to save my life. Like I am horrible. And this is something I always tricked myself into is like, I put a list together of things that I wanted them to do for me. And I was like, I could do that. Oh, Millie, you could just do that. Scribble that out. You could just do that, scribble it out. And I realized it wasn't about whether I was capable of doing it. It was actually like, so I could free up my time and had more capacity to do other things that I do enjoy and that are the crux of who I am and my business. So
like Millie, if you're paying someone, I don't know, $50 an hour or whatever it is to do admin, arguably you'd be earning for your talent more than $50 an hour. So wouldn't it be better for you to spend 50 hours a week earning whatever you can earn per hour for yourself than having to be doing these administrative jobs you get someone else to do at $50 an hour? I mean, just
100%,
mathematically.
100% the logic is there. However, my brain doesn't work the same way. And so it takes me like a long time to grasp that I'm way better off doing that. I also have ADHD and OCD. So I very
For real?
like diagnosed clinically. but it's the way my brain works. It's so warped. And like, I know the logic. I know that that's what I'm thinking is irrational, but for some reason I still resist it because it feels unnatural to me.
Do you feel like you need to control everything? Is that part of it?
So that's part of it. There is a control tendency. I think in the past when I've worked with people, they haven't done the job as well. Not as in working for me, but in a team, they haven't done the job as well, or I've ended up doing it anyway. And so in the past, it's been a bad decision for whatever reason. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to actually find someone who's like going to do the job well. What if I can't find someone? And it's just been this lengthy back and forth, and I'm just like an overthinker anyway.
But I was going to say, is one of the hallmarks of ADHD and perhaps obsessing as well, but is it overthinking? In other words, no, not overthinking. I hate that.
It's called ruminating.
Yeah, ruminating. Yeah. Exactly, ruminating.
Yeah.
Or thinking about every single possibility that could occur. And when you think about every single possibility, you'll never get to them all because there's so many of them, and then you can't make sense of them, and then you don't do anything.
Yep. It's like totally a control thing. So this is a great segue into chatting about the OCD stuff, which I didn't realize I had, but one of the parts of it is the ruminating. So you get these obsessions with something, and then you have to like perform a compulsion to neutralize yourself to make you feel better. And there's a whole range of these. Like it could be anything, but you perform the compulsion to neutralize it to make yourself feel better, then you can continue on. But it's all like pretty irrational stuff. So for example, for me, I have this weird thing where I actually laugh because it sounds so dumb when you say it out loud. I have this weird thing where if I think about every possible outcome that could potentially happen, I feel like I've beaten it to the punch. So I've thought about it, so I've ruled it out. So if I think of every bad thing that could potentially happen, it's not going to happen because for some reason that has worked in the past. So I like to be prepared.
Yeah, you don't want to be caught unaware.
Yeah, so you think of every single thing that could happen. So I'm like prepared for any scenario. And also I think of the bad stuff because like there's no way that I'm going to predict something bad's going to happen to me. So if I think of all the bad stuff, that's gone. It's this weird way. And so I do this to myself by sitting, it's just the way my brain works. And like, it's obviously, we chatted before, it's like anxiety based and all driven. And that's actually the interesting thing, the common denominator with ADHD and OCD that a lot of people don't know is it's anxiety driven. And yeah, it literally comes from this worry about not being able to do something or controlling something. So you ruminate on everything.
So how does the OCD express itself then? So what does that mean for you? Does that mean you're pacing up and down, or you're washing your hands, or you just can't stop thinking about something?
Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of time wasted. So I'm now medicated for it, which has changed my life. So the medication that I started taking, so last year I hit, oh my gosh, we're getting very deep and it's like 10 minutes in. I feel like we should extend that a little bit to like the middle. What I was going to say was last year I was having a really, really tough year, probably about this time last year actually. And I finally had a really dear friend of mine chat with me about potentially going to see a doctor because we were kind of like, we think that you might have ADHD. And we're like, maybe you
really? Just last year?
Yeah, last year. My friend, my cousin, my best friend, she knows me so well and she's just like, your mind races faster than anybody I've ever met. Like it is so fast and there's so much going on and like she can keep up with it. But like I'm very like fast paced in the way that I think that I it's kind of like a stream of consciousness. Sometimes I'm not actually thinking ahead of what I'm saying. And she's just like, let's just go to the doctor and just chat about it. And then she referred me to psych. That all happened. But then when I was at the psych, she was like, actually, I want you to do this questionnaire for OCD as well. And that came out like 100% really strong. And basically when I figured that out, I looked back and I was like, oh my God, there's so many things that I did that I didn't realize were kind of symptoms of OCD. So for example, the ruminating is one of them. But when I said about the time wasting thing, so much time is wasted because you need to go and check things or you have to do certain systems in your head or like patterns in your head Or like, for example, I had a really weird one where I felt like the light switch wasn't off perfectly. So I had to flick it off like a certain number of times to make it sure it felt right. Or checking things. Like I know that I've put my keys in my bag. I see it happen. But as I like 2 seconds later, I go to the door and I'm like, did I actually put them in there? Oh, I'll just check. And then I'm like, yeah, but did I actually do it? Okay, check again. Like it is just those tiny things. It's not even, that's like a very simple example of it. But other things would be like perfectionism is a big one. So, and not in the sense of just like, everyone thinks it's like clean. Like everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's all about being like washing your hands. And that is one form of it, but that doesn't happen to everybody. But perfectionism is one. So for example, I feel like there was times when a lot of people ask me when I'm doing my content and like social media, I would do things a billion times like to get it perfect and waste so much time on this tiny detail that probably didn't matter to everybody else. But for me, I actually physically couldn't move on. Like you're stuck. You like know that you shouldn't go back, but you kind of give in and you're like, I'm just going to do it. So you just waste so much time. It causes you so much anxiety.
Or more inefficiency.
It's inefficient.
Yeah.
And it causes you more anxiety just from like overthinking everything. So there's those kinds of ways. And then I had some like extremely dark, intrusive thoughts.
Which means what? What's it mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Really dark, as in things involving death and like violence. And I actually had to move out of my like place 2 houses ago because it was just getting too much. And it's so weird because you don't want to hurt anybody. You know, no one wants to hurt you, but you can't get this thought out of your head once it jumps in. And you're like, why did I think of that? That was so weird. And like, oh, what's wrong with me? Wait, what? Oh my gosh. Or like, you know, or you'll just be sitting, like I'll be like lying in bed and I'll be like, oh my God, I just like can't get this thought out of my head. And like, I'm just checking things like locked and like you get so worked up. And then I wasn't sleeping for so long. And then it was just this whole thing. And I just thought I was going like I was just exaggerating. I thought I was just over the top.
This is last year.
This is last year. And then when I went and found out, and then I went on these meds and they're for anxiety. And that has basically, oh my God, so I was basically like a literal troll in my bed for 2 months, just like adjusting to it.
You're adjusting the chemicals.
Yes, yeah. Yes. The serotonin
uptake.
That's
SSR.
the one. Yeah, uptake inhibitors, whatever.
Yep.
That one. So I have those and they've obviously changed the chemicals in my brain. But then I remember the first day that it started to kick in, I started crying because I was like, wait, this is what it's like to not have a little voice in your head that's telling you everything's going to go wrong all the time. It's like tunnel vision. I was like, oh my God, wait, what? I did not realize how bad my anxiety was. I thought that I was like, oh yeah, I've got mild anxiety, but it was so debilitating. I wasn't getting anything done. And I ended up booking a trip to Europe 2 weeks before I went, and I went on my own, something I would have never have done had I not like kind of gone through this process. And it changed my life. And I think it's like, you know, obviously touching on meds, it's not for everybody. I totally get that. For me, it has worked so well to help me get to a place where I want to be, where I don't have to take them anymore. But it's just, so that was for the OCD. And then afterwards I had to start taking the stimulants, which is for my ADHD.
Yeah.
And then,
which just sounds odd.
Yeah.
A stimulant for ADHD.
I know.
But it helps you focus.
Yeah.
On a task.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have some experience with family members in relation to this. You know, it's funny you should say, because sometimes we get a bit weird about, I don't want to talk about it, you know, and people might think I'm something, I'm crazy or whatever. And to me, I don't really give a shit. Like I remember years ago when I was under a bit of pressure, like many years ago, for about 2 years, I started looking at number plates, and I became obsessed with number plates, other people's number plates. And then I started to take the view that the number plate was, I could interpret the number plate, and the number plate was actually had a mathematical sequence in it, and that I could, and that those sequences were telling me something that I should be doing or should not be doing. And started off as I thought it was a bit of a weird thing. I was sort of joking with myself, and over a period of time, I became obsessed with it, and I had to go and see somebody about it.
Yeah.
And it was just my response to stress and pressure.
Yeah.
But my response is that I'm an obsessive person as well. I get that like with work or business or anything I'm interested in.
Yes.
And I had to take some medication to help me out too. And people should talk about it more. I mean, you're a young woman, but it's great that you're prepared to talk about it. Maybe your generation is more like that. My generation is definitely not like that. To be prepared to talk about these sort of things in a public sense. Now today I don't care. Yeah. But the only solution to these things is actually someone tapping you on the shoulder and telling you, hey, Mark, that's a bit weird. Yeah. You know, what you're doing, like, because it was one of my sons saw me staring at it. Yes. And then I started talking about it. And then and in the end I got myself, you know, I fixed it up. I still get it every now and then. I can get it a little bit. I can still go back to numb plates. I can remember numb plates. Yeah. They stick in my memory. Yeah, interesting. And I think about them for days. Yep. And then I started seeing patterns. It's a weird thing. But it's not about me, it's about you. But why I wanted to say that is because people like me, people think, well, Mark doesn't have any dramas, but we all do have. We all have dramas, and we all got to be prepared to talk about it. Have you, Millie, at any stage openly discussed this with you've got massive audiences. Have you just openly discussed it with your audiences?
So I have touched on it. So I spoke about it when it was happening. I mentioned that because I had this new lease on life. I was like, oh my God, like I'm living again. Like it was so weird. I was like grieving in a way this time that I'd lost because I don't know. I look back and I was like, oh, had I known this like 5 years ago, who knows where I could have been by now? Like that's how I took it. But I was like, nah, it's better that it's happened now. I wouldn't change anything because I didn't have any of this throughout lockdown. And I think that's obviously when I started, and that's how I was so like I was actually able to function in that way. But anyway, back to the question. I spoke about it once it had happened. So this is me like going off on tangent again. I spoke about it once it happened to my audience very very candidly. Like I kind of was like, yeah, that's fine. Like I can say whatever, and I answered a few questions and people were pretty interested. And then there's like this part of me that also didn't want my content to completely change into my ADHD makes me like this, and I do this with my OCD.
Also victim stuff.
Literally. And I was like, oh, like I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, sorry guys, my ADHD made me late. Like, no, like I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make it my personality. So I was pretty firm about that. So yes, I addressed it and I'm open about it. And if people ask me about it, I'm very happy to talk about it. I spoke about it on a podcast as well, which was really helpful for me to kind of like, talk about it openly because it is important. But
it doesn't define you is the most important.
No, it doesn't define me.
How'd you come to terms with that?
So I just realized that I got to where I am today, or like I guess last year, without any of that knowledge that I had anything like that. So that means that who I was as Millie got me there, and that's what makes me me. Like, yes, I am so chaotic and scatterbrained and disorganized, and like honestly I'm like, why me? Why was I created to be incredibly disorganized? And some people, like my sister, most organized person ever, I was like, that's not fair. Like that's what I'm annoyed about. However, it also gives me the ability to find humor in chaos and be relatable for people, because a lot of people can relate. We need people to show the realities of life, because I'm not living a perfect life. And it was pretty easy for me to be like, yep, it's not me. It's a part of me. I'm working on it, and it's helping me set up systems and stuff like getting a PA so I don't have to heavily rely on them for the rest of my life. But
I like that, comedy in chaos. Yeah. That's not a bad term. That's quite a good turn of phrase. Yeah. But what do you mean by comedy in chaos? I mean, do you actually think your brain is chaotic?
Oh my God, yeah. Like it's actually, you know how you were saying it, someone needs to tell you that you're weird. My cousin was like, Mill, I know you're weird, but like that's weird. You need to go see. Like I am like the most, like there's just so much in here, and it's so funny when I start speaking to someone new and we'll just be like jumping like, like next thing, next. And they're like, wait, hang on. We were talking about, and I'm like, sorry, I just have so much to say. Just keep up with me. Like I've got so much to say. And there's just so much going on in my brain. And it makes me, it causes chaos in my life. So for example, before I
chaos for you or chaos for others?
For everybody, literally.
Including yourself?
Including me. So for example, I'll be in the middle of doing something, like I'll be in the middle of doing, this is a very ADHD thing, but in the middle of doing a task and then something pops into my head and I was like, oh, that'd be so funny. Wait, I wonder if I have that shirt from 2008 still in my wardrobe. Drop everything. Like say you're doing the dishes, dropped. I need to go find that shirt from 2008. Do I have that in my wardrobe? I'm going to go rifling through. Oh my God, there's a dress. I'm going to try this on. I haven't worn this in ages. Is this? Blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh, my phone rang. Okay, cool. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, I forgot to finish doing the dishes. So that is like, my life is just, I swear 3/4 of the time I'm just cleaning up after myself because I've left a trail. It's like, Millie's been here because there's just half finished things everywhere. So there's that chaos, but also I went through a pretty toxic stage of just like, I guess in dating as well, like you can be pretty chaotic as well. And I'm not really like that anymore. And actually, I don't think I was ever that bad, but like probably doing things that I probably shouldn't have because it's chaotic and it's like for the story. You mean
like going over different blokes or?
Yeah.
At the same time?
This is a rogue, this is such a, not at the same time, but more like this is a rogue story or like this is probably not a good time to go see this person. I'm going to go do it anyway because it's a funny story. So like almost creating content from my life because it's funny. And like this is something I've noticed while in this job is like so now I'm like, oh, that's content. Like I'll think of something, oh, that's great content. It's like anything that happens, good or bad. If it's bad, good content. Like it's so weird how I try and turn everything into like, and this is also not a great thing, but you kind of try and think of the positive in the negatives of like, well, at least there's a funny video out of it sort of thing.
And what do you do there? You actually go and record something?
Oh yeah, I record a lot. Actually, lately I have taken a bit of a step back just because I needed just to breathe, but I record so much and like, come with me to Melbourne or whatever, missed my flight. Oh, whoops, missed my flight sort of thing like that. Obviously that's not great, but people like the journey and they like to see themselves in you as well.
Why do you think that? Do you think that people like to see that someone else fucks up as well as them?
100%.
In other words, we're sick of seeing people's perfect lives?
150%. It's like, that was the main thing I got when I started doing my content was everyone was doing these perfect videos, makeup, filters, everything. I turned on my camera, like I put my phone up against like a stack of books, press play, had no makeup on, hair undone. This was in the middle of lockdown, probably wearing pajamas and just started filming. I was like, I don't care. I had a green screen background. And everyone was like, oh, this is so real. Like I can see myself in you or like I can relate to this. It's so nice and refreshing. And then it was kind of it was good for a while and it's still good. However, it starts to put pressure on you to like always be real and like that. And if you start to kind of like move into like, oh, why are you putting your makeup on and why are you getting dressed up for the camera? Like, that's not you. You're like, we don't like it. You know what I mean? Like there's always something you kind of pigeonhole yourself in the relatable girl.
Yeah. You put a square around yourself and which you can't step outside. But having ADHD, that's not that personality. That personality steps out all over the place. Yeah. You step outside the square all the time.
Yeah.
You're never in the square.
No.
People think you're in the square, but you'll step out the square all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, you don't even know there's a square there.
To me, it's like a triangle.
Yeah. I like that as a triangle. But it's not regular for you. So you've had, would you attribute though, you've had massive success in TikTok. Would you attribute those views and the people who follow you and watch what you do, would you attribute that to the fact that people like to see frailty? I don't mean frailty like in an old grammar, but intellectual frailty that and as opposed to perfectness, because I think I think I am. I'm sick
Yeah.
of watching perfection all the time.
Yes.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
And some dudes are perfect, by the way. You know, everything they do is perfect, but like definitely not my world. Do you think people just relate to you because we are sick to death of perfection?
Yes. I think that is the feedback that I get as well from people who message me. They'll be like, thank you so much for like you've inspired me now to like, I don't know, start posting or something because I don't have, you know, the perfect house. It's not all set up perfectly. You know how like you see videos online and their houses are so immaculate.
It kills me.
And you're just like, that is their job. They have spent hours putting that together. It's not realistic, but no one sees that and they make it look effortless. And as soon as you
Kardashian style.
Yeah, literally. It's like they've got a team of people. Like they're at home all day setting up lighting to make it perfect. Like you cannot relate to that. And even I catch myself doing it. Like if I'm setting up my camera and there's like an ugly box in the background, I'm like, oh, there's a box. I'm going to move that. Like,
well, then how do you reconcile that part? So, because you know you're a perfectionist on one side, and you clearly, do you edit your own stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're a perfectionist in that you're the talent in the video.
Yeah.
And then you do the edit. When you're doing the edit, you see the shitty black box.
Yeah.
You being a perfectionist, you want to, I better redo this.
Yeah.
How do you sort of reconcile all that? Or, you know,
I know it seems like it's two opposite ends. And I think there'll be times when I'm moving the box and like I move the box and at the end I'm like, oh, I should have just left it there. Oh, whatever. Like I always catch myself trying to give off a certain image or perfect image, and it'll be after it happens. And I'll be like, oh, I should have just said that. Why did I do an introduction as though I'm like on a talk show? I should have just spoken like this. Like I do that all the time. I'll be like, I'm going to go and talk about this today. And you turn the camera on and it's like you're in an interview and I was like, that's not me. That is not me. Do it again. And I catch myself when I fall into it. So there's the perfectionism of like, you're trying to be too perfect. Stop trying to be perfect and just be yourself.
What about this, Millie? What about if you, I mean, it's not for me to solve anyone's things, but like, I mean, the fact that you walked in an imperfect sense, in other words, you didn't put spray tan on your leg,
Thanks.
and you got your socks on, but you got together with a pair of beautiful Chanel shoes, but that's actually perfect. So in imperfection is perfection for me. You know, for most people, I think most of us recognize that there is no such thing as perfect.
Yeah.
And if we see it's perfect, we think it's not authentic.
Yep.
Or it's been dressed.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's not real.
Yep.
It's not the real deal.
Yeah.
And you know, like if you made yourself just the talent, maybe your PA could be a producer as well. Could be the person who edits your stuff.
Yeah.
And then if you had a neutral edit, because I don't edit anything here, it all gets edited by my team. Because I know if I was editing it, I would be so fucking critical of what I'm doing.
Yep.
It would nothing ever get edited.
Yep.
But these guys here who edit my stuff, they edit it to their level, to what their perception is, and they're more like the audience. Yep. That way, I don't have to get caught up in it, and I don't set myself crazy.
Yeah.
That's maybe what your PA could do for you.
I think so. I actually advertised for like a content person with it, and the people that kind of came back, like there've been definitely some good options, which has been great. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's like figuring out that it's perfectly imperfect, because like with the socks, this was like literally a matter of time. I was like, you're running late. You just need to go. Like I literally couldn't control that. Had I had more time, I would have scrounged around to find the right socks. But I think you get to a point where, then it becomes toxically perfectly imperfect. And that's where you see this weird transition into people trying to make their feeds look effortless and imperfect, but you know that they've put time into making it look imperfect. And you're like, oh my God. Like,
but this is an example of you overthinking. You're already thinking the possibilities. You're already going through. They've spent their time on making it look perfectly imperfect.
And you're like, how do those girls do it? They just look effortlessly cool. And I have just embraced the fact
that's cool though. Perfectly imperfect is actually cool.
That's cool. And then
But if it's real, only
if it's real. And I'm like, I wish that was me so much. And I think the main takeaway from all of this is like, I just need to show up as myself, whatever that is. I'm going through different stages in my life. Like one of them is chaotic. Then, I get on my medication, things are a little bit more together. Then I'm like, having an amazing peak in my career. And like all these different Millies kind of show up. And I just need to show up to my followers and my audience as that version of Millie, whatever it is. And I think it's just about authenticity at the end of the day. And that's for what I'm putting out there. But for myself, realizing that literally the reason why people follow me is because I'm not perfect. And I actually, this is a weird thought, but I have tried to kind of move into a little bit more of a put together state of my life. And like, a lot of things do need to be put together, but then showing up online as more put together, it doesn't work for me. So I'll post like a hot photo or something that I think looks good. The girl's like, post it, you look hot. And it doesn't perform nearly as well as me dress up as an old lady with no makeup on and a cardigan speaking in a high like voice. Like it is so crazy that no one wants me to be hot. Like they're like, nah, do your comedy, like do your funny stuff. We like that more. And so it doesn't like, it's weird. I'm like, okay, this is weird. Everyone is telling me, just be yourself. Don't try and be put together. Don't try and be this perfect person. Obviously you can enjoy that and celebrate that when that happens. But it's so weird how you like need to just stick to what you're good at.
And what your audience likes.
And there's that strategy in that too, because then you like start to lose yourself. And like, you know what? I've had that recently where I'm just like, I feel like I've lost my spark a little bit. Like where did she go? And it's definitely due to like overthinking. And then like, I moved house and like you just get stressed. And whenever I'm stressed, I just have no creative drive. I'm like, how can I think of an idea ever again?
You sound like an artist. Like if someone who's looking to be inspired to paint something,
I get inspired.
Or to write something.
Yep.
Then they need to get a certain set of conditions in order to do that.
Yep.
It could be going to the south of France because they need a certain light.
Yes.
At a particular time of year to be able to paint a certain type of painting. And a lot of famous artists actually have gone through those processes. I remember the late John Olsen used to talk about how he spent a lot of time in France. I can't remember which part of France, so because at a certain time of year, the sun was at a certain level and it gave a certain quality of light in order to allow him to paint some of the most beautiful paintings he'd ever done. But at any other time he couldn't do it. And like when you just talked about being inspired, or when I mentioned about inspiration, and then you talked about the difference between your Millie the hot photo versus Millie the creating herself to be the old lady with the cardigan on. I think audiences, if they really like Millie taking the piss, in other words, doing something funny, that they get disappointed when they see Millie hot.
Yeah, that's what I found.
They want to see Millie the funny person.
Yes.
Because you're a funny person. And if I go to a restaurant which serves great, I don't know, it's a meat restaurant and all of a sudden they start trying to dish seafood up to me. I don't want to know about it. That's in my brain. That's the meat restaurant. Millie's the funny person. She's a creative.
Yeah.
So where do your creative ideas come from? Like you do take the piss. So you're a little bit like the inspired unemployed blokes, a little bit like a female version. Like they come up with some sort of practical jokers, madcapping, funny shit.
Yeah.
So where do you get your inspiration from? So do you walk down the street and you see some old lady sitting there buying a cup of tea? How do you work it?
Literally that. Like it'll be at the most random times. Like I genuinely do feel like I put the pressure on myself, but I do feel like there's pressure on me to like find little moments in the day that people forget like are happening to everybody. So I remember when I first started, it just was overflowing. There was all these ideas. I could do this, that, and that. And everyone's like, how do you think of these things? Like, how do you think of it? I was like, well, I have a whole list. Like, I think of something, write it down, and then I go through it. And it was all just kind of like coming out. And then absolutely creative block hits and you're like, I can't think of anything. And so I'll go for a walk. But I find that if you try to go looking for it, you don't find it. So I need to distract myself and I need to like switch off. And it's usually, you know, how they say like your best ideas in the shower or like before bed, it's like your inhibitions are kind of down. Like you kind of,
you're relaxed.
You're relaxed. You're not overthinking it. And that is exactly the same as me. And I had an idea actually walking over to the studio, completely different to what I do. But I was like, oh, that's a funny idea. I'm just going to jot that down. Don't even know why it came to me. It was because I was listening to a song that reminded me of a moment, that reminded me of a person who'd spoken about that, who reminded me of that. And there was like a zigzag of connections. And that was my inspiration. I wasn't going
to do what? To do a post?
To
TikTok?
To make a skit about an idea that I had,
Right.
which I'll do later. But it was so weird how it came about in the most unsuspecting way. I was just like driving here. I wasn't thinking I've got to think of 3 ideas before I get to the studio. Like it's in those moments when you force it, they don't work for me. If I feel something's forced, it usually doesn't perform that well. And which is why when I'm working with brands, I'll be honest with them and I'll be like, this is not going to do well. It's way too forced, way too prescriptive. Like,
do they script for you?
Yeah. So some brands are amazing to work with and they just like get it and they're like, you know your audience. Like you have not come this far and like not learnt along the way what your audience likes. And then some of them are just like, nah, it needs to be like this and this. Like you need to say our brand name in the middle of the screen for like 10 seconds. And I'm like, trust me, everyone, like no one's even going to make it to the end of the video. Like there is no point. And a lot of brands are flexible and a lot of brands want you to do it their way. And like I try not to work with them if that's the case.
How do you work that out? How do you cull those?
So I start from the get-go. I'm very upfront. I'm like, I need creative control over the final asset, depending on the situation, obviously, like if it's, you know, a bigger project. But if it's just a regular skit or whatever, like tell me the key messaging, what's the brief, or like I need to come up with like the creative idea, the concept. I can't be shoved something in my face. It just doesn't work. And if they're not happy with that, then it's like obviously a pass. But most people are really good at being like, okay, you know, we totally get that. Like you know your audience. But I'm pretty brutal. Like I won't work with someone or a brand that doesn't feel authentic to me. Like I genuinely will just be like, it's not inspiring. I don't want to get up and like do this video, no matter, you know, the price on it. Like it actually doesn't work for me. I just don't find, I'm not inspired. And also I feel like I've let my audience down. It's cringy. I'm just like, oh, I've got to just post this one. It's like, no, like I want to post stuff that I'm really proud of and like that I know people will enjoy.
Do you feel like you need to get a bit nervous about it first? I mean, how important is it to feel like it's a bit edgy or it's a little bit on the edge? And like, do you, in order for it to work for your audience, or is it got to be sanitized?
I'm pretty like family friendly with my content just because I have so many generations watching me, like everywhere from like little kids in school and then to like grandmas and like mums who are like, oh, Dull, you're my favorite. Like, I love you. Keep doing it. Like that vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, these whole families are watching me. Like I know like I don't know them, but they've messaged me being like, we used to, or we still do, we watch your videos before class. Like during lockdown, they'd put on one of my TikToks and be like, all right. Like, and I'm like, you're showing it to kids. Like I kind of want it to be safe for them to watch and I don't want the teachers to be like, oh, that's such a shame that we can't play your videos anymore. And also another interesting fact is, well, not fact, but thing I've learned, I'm so happy that I did decide to be kind of brand safe because the opportunities have been like, there have been so many opportunities that have come from it as opposed to if I'd been incredibly out there and like, that's not even me anyway. Like I do like to have some sort of like nice, I don't know, like not nice, but like I like it to be digestible, basically. Like I'm not like a hard-hitting, like
you don't want someone to vomit it up.
Abrasive person. No, like I'm not like that anyway. So I am really glad that I stick to that because it's just it works for me in that way. It's very true to who I am. I'm not going to try and be someone I'm not. But I know for other people, being abrasive and being like a little bit like naughty or whatever, it works for them like that, and that's fine. And they do it best. I'm not going to try
because that's
and
them
do
though.
that.
That's because that's them. I mean, I've had
Yeah.
sitting right in that chair is the Spaniard. I don't know if you know who the Spaniard is. I wouldn't be surprised if you've never heard of him, but he's a very popular guy. But he's the opposite to you.
Yeah.
And he says things that are always controversial.
Yeah.
But that's his audience.
Yeah.
And that's him, by the way. He loves that and it works for him. But if you're it's very interesting that you talk about, you know, like how your mind is chaotic and your life is chaotic. But at the same time, it seems to me pretty clear that you're running this like a business because you actually do know your audience. The two things you know is yourself,
Yeah.
what your talent is.
Very self-aware,
And
if nothing else.
No, but totally. But that's a big deal. But also your audience.
Yeah.
You know what your audience does and doesn't like. Or
Yeah.
you definitely know what your audience likes.
Yes.
Maybe you don't know what they don't like, but you definitely know what they like.
Yes.
And I don't want to say it's a bad word, feed. I hate the word feed. But you provide it to them.
Yes.
You deliver it and distribute it to them.
Yes. I joke about that. I'm like, Mum's feeding you guys today. Like I've got
You
content.
do?
Yeah. I'll be like, Mum's just left some dinner on the table, and then I like post a video.
But do you actually dress up for these things now? Like,
So, okay, this is a good
Get
segue.
into character.
This is a great segue. So
don't you hate that word though, segue?
segue.
It's hard to spell
Also,
too.
it's a different segue to like a Segway ride-on Segway.
Yeah, yes,
It's
yes.
different.
Yeah, totally different.
I learned that way too late in life. Like
I don't know what you're talking about there, but I know the ones you're talking about. the
yeah,
Segway.
like the little ride-ons they do on the holidays.
I don't use them anymore. I think they're illegal. But sorry,
Are they illegal? My parents
No,
rode them on
that's,
Hamilton
we
Island.
can't do this.
Sorry. Back to it. Okay, so basically, what were we saying?
I don't know. I can't remember now.
Oh, we were saying
As you said, this is a good segue.
this is a good segue
About
into,
getting into
yes,
character.
That's right. Okay. So
You got me fucked up now.
Sorry,
This
it's
is
just the
this is family
effect.
friendly. I won't
That's-
even swear.
That's the Millie effect, honestly. I basically, so yeah, I get into character. This is an interesting thing. I started my videos not even thinking twice. Well, I thought maybe once. I didn't think twice. I thought, okay, teachers wear cardigans. I'll just literally, this is the only cardigan I have. Chuck it on. I get 100 million comments about the cardigan. I was like, okay, people love the cardigan. I keep that. And I'm like, okay, it's a cold day and I happen to be wearing a turtleneck. So I'm going to just chuck on the cardigan over the turtleneck. People say, oh my gosh, like your turtleneck, it's the perfect. Suddenly I have an outfit and that's my teacher outfit. And I was like, I didn't actually make that. However, now I've got a costume and I cannot wear that turtleneck ever again in public. So that and the mum, I think it must have been a cold day and I had the puffer on. Everyone's like, oh my God, the puffer is mum. And I was like, oh, this is so weird because I didn't think about it. But I also was like, wait, my mum also, yeah, my mum wears a puffer. What character created? So they kind of naturally created, but then also, so it was good because it was distinguishable. Everyone was like, oh, mum character's on, teacher character's on, whatever. And then it got to a point where I was like, oh, I don't want to put on the outfit, or I wish I could film that right now, but I don't have the outfit with me, or I can't bother to change. And I was like, oh, I feel like I'm letting people down if I don't do the outfit. And so I slowly it's a bit more malleable now. Like sometimes I'll like wear the puffer, sometimes I won't. But basically,
Do you give him a name, by the way?
yeah. So Mrs. Brown is the English teacher.
Yep.
I had like a project and we needed to name her. I was like, Mrs. Brown. And then the mum's name, I believe, is Julie because someone said it in a video and I was like, I need to stick to that now. So some of them names, the art teacher's called Bronwyn. I let the audience.
Bronwyn is an art teacher.
Yeah, but
Totally.
the audience named her. So I was like, can you tell me? So I got the audience, like my followers to like name her, and whatever had the most likes, I just picked that one. So that one worked. But like, so these characters are like, it's so weird because they've developed into these much more like definitive characters now. Every time there's like, then I added glasses, then I added like an upside down watch because they always do that.
Yes.
I was like, why? Or they'll
I
be-
science teach like that.
Literally why? And then like stuffing tissues down their sleeves. And so I was doing that and I was like, this character like developed over time. And so now I really do feel like I step away and then I step into character. It helps me. It's like if you're playing a TV show character, your costuming helps you get into it. So that was really good. But then now I'm at a point where I'm like, I have done these characters so much, right? Like I started 3 years ago doing it and it's become part of me, but I have so much more to offer the world. Like I've got so many other interests and it's trying to find that balance between like still giving people entertaining content, still being myself, still being authentic, still being funny, not being perfect, still being interesting, relevant, but also being myself and being vulnerable. But we want to see more of you, Millie. Oh, but we want to see more skits. Show us the behind the scenes. No, we don't want to see behind the scenes. We just want to see the videos. Or like, there's just so many different things that people want to see.
That's good.
Which is good.
Gives you plenty of choices.
Does. But then there's like that kind of double-edged sword with choice, because then you're kind of like, which direction I go in.
For you it would be?
For me.
Yeah, because there's too many choices.
There's too many choices.
And too many possibilities or
Yes.
sub-choices within the choices.
Exactly. So I've been through this like mental dilemma. Actually, recently, it's probably a good time to talk about it, but it's been very much like these characters who I just adore so much. I also don't want to fatigue them. Like I don't want to run them into the ground that I can't ever pull them out again. And so, because I'd love to turn them into a show one day. Like it would be so awesome to have a show about like mums or something. How fun. And like I would hate to be like, oh, I can't ever put on a puffer jacket ever again, because it reminds me of like it's just been overdone. So then you kind of start to step away. And this is where I had this mini like identity crisis of like, okay, I've got this platform. I'm not doing skits as much. What's going on with me? Like, what am I doing? Like, who am I? And I've taken some time to like think about it. I'm like, okay, what am I interested in? And the natural segue was like acting. And I've wanted to be an actor ever since I was a little girl, but I didn't pursue it after school because I didn't have the confidence. And that kind of grew with the platform, like the confidence of like, hey, I can do this. Like,
You certainly drag an audience.
Yeah, I was literally like, I can do this. And then the home and away opportunity came up, which was so exciting. Actually, I did a tiny little cameo on Bump on Stan. And then the home and away opportunity came up and I was like, oh my God. I'm screaming.
How did that come about? Did they ring you? What happened?
Actually, I think what happened was because it's very like, there's a lot of moving parts with the show. There was like, they needed a last minute character or something. And so they put a call out for my character who was actually an influencer. And they asked me to come in and audition. I auditioned and everything. And then I got it. And I went in and I did a whole day of shooting, and that was like so much fun. And it just like showed me a little of the behind the scenes on set. But it was literally, it came, so this was last year in August, while I was kind of having like the identity crisis. I was like, and then I was like, okay, great. And since then, it's not like I've been like overwhelmed with acting work. Like it just doesn't work like that. And so I'm kind of like, okay, I've done that thing. Like, all right, tick, like we've got one thing on the portfolio. Now we've got to be like kind of working on something else. So like you kind of are always coming back to like, who am I? And like making sure that I have like a strong foundation in who I am, because I don't want to get lost in.
As a performer or as Millie Ford?
As Millie Ford.
So how do you separate these things? So, you know, you got Millie Ford who's, Bronwyn, Millie Ford who's blah, 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 the other characters. Millie Ford who's on home away, Millie Ford who's a singer, Millie Ford, et cetera, TikTok, the whole thing. Yeah. What about Millie Ford, the private person?
Yeah, it's so
Where's
weird.
time for her?
I know, and I can be very different like not different, but I think I am myself online, but like obviously there's so much I don't show.
No, but you got lots of parts of your personality. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think it's so weird because I do think about this, and like I make sure that I like make space for me to feel really sad if I need to one day, or like anxious. Like I make space for it, and like it's taken me a long time to get here, but I've kind of reserved time for when I am on, I guess, for online. And I think that there's this struggle that I faced with like, oh, you kind of want to show the vulnerability too, but I like to be able to think through things on my own and not having the voices of the people telling me to do this, that, and the other. Like I want to just work through that on myself. So I would go to my close friends, and that's how I get through that stuff. And they keep me grounded. They keep me as who I am. I love spending time with my family. Like that's my personality just comes alive. It almost just reminds me who I am.
Are you different then?
I'm not different. It's just that I can relax a little bit more. Like, oh, the camera's gone. Like I can just literally relax and slump on the couch.
So, but you know the cameras are going here. And when before you came in, I heard you yell out from outside the studio, I'm so nervous. But when you get like that, have you felt during this past hour that you start off performing and you've less performed?
Maybe.
Do you feel as though you got into that, got out of character? And
I feel like at the start I was definitely more on because I was like, I want to look peppy and I don't want to bring a bad vibe to it.
Yeah.
And then now that I've relaxed into it, the conversation, I'm happy to like kind of like slouch a little bit more and like flick my hair.
No, I've
like,
noticed.
You know?
I've noticed you've changed on through the conversation.
Yeah.
So because what I'm trying to work out is who's the real Millie? Like I don't know.
This
is
me. No, so I think what I like to do, this is my toxic trait. I'm so scared of being perceived as boring or like a bad vibe. This is the people pleaser in me that I'm like, I just want to make sure everyone knows I'm not a bad vibe. Like I promise I'm fun. Like I'm so fun. So like I'll show up and be like, I'm fun. Like I'm good energy. I'm good. Because I probably had one too many people being like, are you okay? Like you're really off today. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. But it's like, then you set up yourself to be always like on. But
yeah,
I think like just nerves of being like, well, I don't know what I'm going to talk about on here. And I think like I do like to keep some things private. Like that stuff, obviously I can be like, I don't want to talk about it. But you know, like it's people think that they know a version of me, but there's just so much more to me because I cannot express it all online. Like the places my imagination goes and where my mind wanders during the day and the intricacies of my like friendships and relationships and everything. There's so much that no one could ever know who I am unless they know me in real life.
Let's talk about this just for 1 second because I'm getting wound up over here. But, you know, how old are you now? 20?
I'm 28.
28, yeah. So, you know, you're extraordinarily popular. You're a lovely-looking young lady.
Thank you.
You're doing well in your life. You've got, you know, from all accounts, you're a nice person. But how do you go, like, when you're so well known, how do you go into the dating world? Like, how the fuck can you sort of expect, well, how do you manage having a relationship?
I haven't had a relationship since I started, put it that way.
Since what late
3
last
years
year?
ago.
3 years ago, since COVID.
Yeah. So my ex and I ended things around May last year. So coming up to like 3 years. And this was just as everything was, sorry, did I say last year? 3 years ago, 2021 it would have been, yeah. And this was just as things were taking off for me. We all went into lockdown. Was going through the breakup in lockdown, but I was distracted by all of the content. So that was really exciting. And like no one was leaving the house.
Good distraction.
Good distraction. No one was leaving the house. And then like when I left lockdown, I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like I was getting recognized everywhere I went.
And everybody thinks they know you.
Yeah, everyone thinks that they know. Like, oh my gosh, you're like my friend, Millie. And I'm like, oh my God, love you. And I felt like I had to go out and be like, all good. And interestingly, so since then, haven't had a relationship. I've definitely dated a few people, but like nothing serious. Like it's so crazy how much harder. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, I'm sure you have like so many people. Like, because you've got, I'm like, no, it's the opposite. Like I find that it's like there's less options, not only less options, there's less interest because everyone's thinking that. Like everyone's like, oh, you've got access to like hundreds of thousands of people, surely. And I'm like, I genuinely don't, not to mention my audience is mostly women or gay men. So like that's not, it's really hard. And like I was on dating apps for a while and I'm not on them anymore.
How do they work? So I know how they work, but how do they work for you?
So they were fine. Like I think I always wondered, like going in, you know, does this person know who I am? Like you don't really know straight up. And everyone, of course, is like, has no idea. Like you don't know if that's the truth or if they've seen maybe a video. Like I'm just kind of like, okay, like start from scratch. So you kind of just go in assuming that like you're two regular people that don't know anything about each other. But I think that always sticks in my head is like, what is this person's intentions? Like, are they trying to get a little bit of clout? Like, or do they like Millie? Like, do they like me? And I always find it really interesting because then, you know, the classic 2 to 3 month mark when you kind of are starting to realize if it's going to happen or not, I actually like always look back and realize like, oh, I don't know if this person actually really got to know me, like Millie Ford. Like, does this person like Millie, like the person, like the idea of being with Millie, or do they actually like me? And I always come to this weird crossroads of like, I don't feel like they actually tried to get to know me, like asking
But do you let them get to know you?
So yeah, I'm like, ask me anything, like open book. But
no, but apart from asking, like just being you, like just
oh yeah, I'm so myself.
Dag around, like because I know people who have ADHD, and they can be a bit overwhelming. The speed at which they talk, the speed at which they think, I actually generally find people who have ADHD, a lot of them have quite a high form of intelligence. They're very smart. They latch on to things all the time. They might have a bit of an issue about staying on theme, but nonetheless, they have this massive ability to flip from idea to idea at a speed which most people don't have, and most people can't keep up with it. Okay,
Totally.
and they can get upset. And can frustrate it with you. Did you find that you had a bit of overwhelming effect on people?
I found the opposite. I found that guys would be like, you're so easy to date because you just don't shut up. Like they don't have to bring anything. I
love it.
They literally said that to me, and I'm
I don't have to say anything.
Yeah, literally, they're like, it's great. Like you just talk. But in saying that, I actually don't think that's accurate. Like I'm a very curious person, and obviously I want to know who I'm dating. So I'll ask questions. I'm like, who is this? Like who? What are you about?
Rip in.
Yeah, like I'm
ask the questions everywhere. You should.
Yeah, but I'm also very good at talking about things and like adding bits to the conversation. I find guys just generally, not even just me, like I know my friends have been like this, aren't as good at asking questions. Like I think guys like to get to know you through doing, so like activities and like finding things out. Like,
horse riding or this guy.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were coordinated. Like, wait, you can swing it like a golf club? It's like, yeah, I played softball all my life. And they're like, oh, you play softball? That's so. And then that starts the conversation rather than being like, oh, you know, what sports do you like, or like how do you like to work out? Girls will ask more directly to the point. And so it takes a little bit longer to kind of get to know the guy, I found. But also I think I have felt like, as you say, I'm a bit chaotic and like, you know, my mind is everywhere. I'm unashamedly weird, and like me as a person, like I'm in every sense of the word. I think people will be like, oh my God, I'm so weird. But it's like, no, like genuinely like the things that I don't know, like the humor and what I'm interested in talking about. I'm curious. I like to kind of nitpick at things and delve deeper. I've found a lot of the guys I've dated have been more or not surface level, just like they haven't been as interested in doing that. And so I think that didn't click as well. Like I would love to find someone that I can just chat to about that sort of stuff and like have good conversations with, and like I can just be myself with. I say to my family all the time, I was like, I just need to find a guy that I could be so weird with. Like I just want to be weird and stupid and silly, and like that is what I'm looking for. And I think that's, people always think like, yeah, I'm weird, I can be weird, and they might take a bit of time to open up, that's fine, but it hasn't always like clicked. I haven't like clicked with them.
So have you given up on it for a while? I mean, is it a thing you got to work on? Like,
yeah, I've honestly just,
or do you don't give a fuck? I'm
in a place where I am like, I've deleted the apps. Like I'm just not on it. I'm not looking for it. I do kind of think, well, if I'm going to be on my own for the rest of my life, like I better make it a good one.
I doubt it.
Like, well, we'll see. I don't know. Like all my friends are basically dating. I think I'm the last one. But I'm also just like not looking for it. So like I'm not necessarily hunting around. And I think if I was more intentional about it, then like I would make situations happen for myself. But I am actually not, whenever, and this is like the obsessive thing as well, like when I have a crush on a guy, like I crush so hard. Like I get distracted and I'm like, it's actually better for everyone and me if I don't have a crush or if I'm not talking to a guy, because then I can focus on my work and just focus on me.
That sort of makes sense to me after having spoken to you.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine if you're either in or all in or not in at all.
Yeah.
In which case, if you're all in, especially something like that, it will distract you from your main game.
Literally.
Right now is your career.
Yes.
Is Millie Ford the actress, Millie Ford the singer, Millie Ford.
Yep.
By the way, you're going to do a podcast?
Yes.
Have you got one coming up?
So I do.
Have you actually named it? What's going on?
I have named it.
Can we talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Come on.
I've only talked about it to my family and friends. You can be first. So,
please.
Okay, so I, again with the PA stuff, I was like, guys, I'm doing a podcast. I was like, where is this podcast, Millie? I'm like, sorry. So I decided, so basically the reason it took me so long was because I was trying to find the right co-host for it. And then I decided that I'm actually just going to do it on my own.
Perfect.
Yeah. And it means like, I think a few people when I told them was like, oh, you're just you talking for 45 minutes. I'm like, what? Like, that's hard. Like I do that every day anyway. I may as well record it. But no, beyond that, I think my main thing is like my availabilities have been so different to people's, and I don't want any excuses of like, oh, we can't do this time, can't find the time. Like I want to be able to record like instantly, like now. Like I want to go and record. And I think I have so many ideas that I can come bring to the table. But basically it's going to be called Miss the Memo.
Missed the Memo. Okay, yeah.
The reason that it's called Miss the Memo is because, which sounds like a random name, but first of all, I live my life in a way that feels like I missed the memo along the way.
Yeah, that everybody else got.
Yeah. I missed the memo. Like, how is everyone functioning? Like, I'm not. I don't get it. I think that's very relatable for a lot of people too. Like, we've all kind of just like, we're just like getting through it. Also, the style of the podcast is, so I'm a classic for sending really long voice memos to my friends, to the point where one of my friends has like a 2-minute capacity on my voice memos. She's like, you can't do more than 2 minutes. So I'll like do like 1:55 and then I'll send like another one for a minute. And she's like, I know what you're doing. And I was like, no, like I just had more to say. So they'll be like, oh my God, you sent me like a whole podcast episode, Millie. And then that's kind of where it came from. I was like, oh my gosh, wait, this actually does sound like a voice memo from me. So it's very much that. And then also having my listeners send in like anything, questions, whatever, through voice memo just makes sense. So I think it's just about the fact that I am just chaos as it is. I'm always,
I like the name Chaos.
Yeah, Chaos. I was thinking about something to do with that. There's another podcast that has that in the name
right.
though. But it's just going to be, so I will definitely have guests on as well. But I do want it to be a place where it's me just like talking about my life, like honestly, and what's going on. I've got so many different things going on, but also like it's a place to connect with my listeners as well. Like I'm not able to really do that on TikTok as much because it's more the characters and the skits, and then Instagram's also a bit different. So it's like, okay, this is a place that if you want to like come and get updated, come and listen. And I'm actually going to be recording it at home. So I'm in the middle of setting up
a little studio.
My studio area.
You're going to have to edit it?
Well, this is what I wanted the PA to do, because I was trying to edit. I did a draft and that was where I was like, ew, why do I sound so like interviewee? Like this is so gross. I was like, that is not what I want it to sound like. I want it to sound like you're going on a walk with your friend and you're listening to their voice memo that you
Which is what a podcast is about.
That literally.
It's conversation.
It shouldn't be like, and it's not going to be all like one day, hopefully it's more produced, but it's not going to be all like what I do best, right? Is like lo-fi, like very kind of easy listening. Like it's not going to be at first the most expensive, lavish like setup.
Polished, not polished.
Yeah. And it's just going to be me talking and chatting through. I've got a few segment ideas and yeah, like I'm excited.
When you're looking at doing this, when are you looking at putting it out?
So I would say within the next 2 weeks. Probably. I'm a very last minute.
Our producer over here is going, what the hell? Like,
I know. And I know that sounds so crazy, which it is. But basically I've got the area, like what I do this all the time. I'm so last
Just do
minute.
it.
I literally just buy the mics on Amazon, buy the lights on Amazon. The video, the camera, that's the one thing I need to work out because I've got a camera already, but I just don't know the battery space.
Ask the boys on the way out because we know they know all this stuff.
I'm very like, okay, I've got energy. Let's do it right now. And like it all comes together like in like a day. It's crazy. Like that's just how I work. I just do it instantly.
Well, Millie, I'm actually happy to lend you the boys for your first one.
Amazing.
Just come.
Do you want to come over?
Yeah, they'll come over. We'll get a bit of footage out of it for us. So we will throw up somewhere and I'll put it on my Instagram or something. And but I'll lend the boys too. But you can certainly get any consultation from them because we've helped other people before with podcasts, but on cameras, lighting, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Let them come and check it out. Just say you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And if you need them to help you, just talk to them about it. But I'm serious because I actually think this is something I'd like to support in a qualitative way.
Oh, thank you.
Just to help you out a little bit. And that way I can get out of it because he keeps winding me up over here. He keeps saying, "Mate, stop." and Millie's going to go forever. But I want to say this to Millie, I want to say honestly, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thank
to Straight Talk. And I got like one very small sentence for you just to close. Never ever worry. You have a gift. Just remember it. You've got a gift.
Thank you.
And go with it, okay?
Thank you. And maybe you can come on my podcast in the future.
If you want me to come on, I'll come on. Millie Ford, thanks very much.
Thanks, Mark. Oh, this has been awesome.